The real Tigris is this Nile here, and the real Euphrates is the river Pra in Ghana, flowing into Niger Benue River.
Wait a minute. We're back up. Hold on.
Yeah, you see,
reverse. Say that again.
The
real Tigris
is the Nile here. The rivers of Egypt
is River Nile.
Yes. And the real Euphrates is these rivers in West Africa, flowing into Central Africa.
And you called it River Pra.
Exactly, the Pra.
So when Euphrates gets into Ghana, the name for it is Pra.
Exactly. When it gets to Nigeria, they call it Niger River, of which it was some European guy who came there and called it Niger River. Niger does not mean anything. It's just the Portuguese word for black. Look at the word, Euphrates. Euphrates is a Greek kind of thing. This U is a Greek word. The real word is the Pra there, or the Fra. Look at it, Parat. I don't know if you can see this. Euphrates River. That's Judah there, Kingdom of Judah. Right in West Africa.
Ask yourself the questions that you've been told not to ask even in the church. It's questions that make you learn. So welcome to Answers today. I mean, it's completely different. You know, sometimes we just get out of our comfort zone to do, other things than what you normally see. And usually we speak Tree, but today we have to speak English again, just like when Dr. Damina was here and the House of Israel of Jesus, when they were here, and all of that. Today, I'm introducing to you one amazing man who knows so much that I feel like we should all share in the knowledge. So, Kunle, I want you to introduce yourself to my viewers, and then we can actually tell them what we're discussing with them today. If I should give them a snippet of it, have you ever wondered where the real Israel is? People are flying to this place they call Israel, but is it truly Israel? Now we're going to dig deep, go into the Bible, look at our landmass of Earth, and locate the real Israel that the biggest history book in the world talks about. I'm making reference to the Bible, that is. Welcome, Kunle. How are you?
Yes, I'm great. I'm doing fine. So I'm Kunle Aderemi, and our ministry is known as Kunle Ministers. That's the name you'll find on the internet, yes. So like he said, we have been on a 5-year long research, and one of the things that started this research was I began to wonder, why is Africa the way it is? Why does the people seem to be backward? Where was Africa when the rest of the world was making progress in the 1400s, 16, 17, 1800s? So this began to lead to a lot of research. I started wondering what's happening in history and things like that. And that led to literally a lifelong research. But then the last 5-6 years have been the most intense of it. And yes, and we've come to very amazing discoveries, which we thought is worth letting the world know. Yeah.
You know, it's for the same reason that I started on this program, but tonight is not, the spotlight is not mine, it's yours, so I'm not going to get into it. I asked the same questions and I had an encounter, which actually started this platform. Wow. So, and I've not told anybody that yet, so we're just going to leave that for another day. Oh. But today, Israel.
Yes.
Please, tell us where it is.
Yes. So one of the major research, we've put it together in 4 sections in our research. We have it on our website. It's literally a 22-part series we put on our website, and it's also on our YouTube channel, Kunle Ministers. So we put it in terms of languages, in terms of the people, in terms of the land and the timeline. But we'll just talk about the first 3 today. So we found out that the languages, the people, and the land of the real Israel, the real Hebrews altogether, is in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, and we can start off with the language. We found out it's starting from Guinea up until Togo, up until Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, all the way down like that is where the real land is. And we know that this might be a surprise.
The real land of Israel.
Yes. The real promised land. That's the real land flowing with milk and honey. And that's why the Europeans don't want to leave the land.
That is the promised land.
That is the promised land. That is the land flowing with milk and honey, you see. So
basically West Africa,
yes,
is the promised land.
Yes, all the way into Central Africa like that, into Cameroon.
All the way into Central.
Yes.
By the modern day demarcations of the earth.
Exactly.
What the white man has made it to look like, you mean?
I understand. Exactly. So, okay. I mean, let's just jump straight into it. Most people are looking for evidence. They're looking for maps, and that's exactly what we're here to show.
So, before you get into that, based on this claim, what you're also telling me is the people in this enclave that you just described are Israelites.
Yes, exactly. They're Hebrew. Hebrew Israelites. Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So we want to start first from the language. Like I said, the languages, the people, and then the land. For the languages, we'll touch on some few words that we can find in the modern day Hebrew, okay, which is known as modern Hebrew, by the way. And we'll touch on a few words that we found to be just about the same thing. Then we'll touch on the cultures of the people, okay, and their customs. And then we'll now touch on the graphical location. So anybody viewing should wait and stick till the end to see the interesting, the juicy part. That's the location part of the things. But let me
just go ahead.
Great. So let me just share my screen and let's get into it.
Awesome.
All right. So first we have found 25 words. In fact, more than 25, still counting. Can you see these words on your screen? Can everybody see that?
English, Hebrew, African, Yoruba, and others?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Then scripture and then strong what?
Strong's number, yes.
Strong's number, okay.
Yes. So we've been able to find about 25 words, still counting. Now, the reason why I've picked the Yoruba language, can you see the cursor of my mouse so that we know everybody's seeing that? Yeah, great. So the reason why I picked Yoruba language because it's the language that I speak it natively, just probably better than I speak English. Okay, so I've picked that to be able to pick out this word. So we've been able to find 25 words and still counting in the modern day Hebrew that you find to be the same in the Yoruba language. And
you're not kidding.
I'm telling you. That's in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And within those 5-6 Hebrew words, we find at least 4 or 5 of them that are same. Now, the first is the word Bereshit, which means in the beginning. And when you want to say in the beginning in Yoruba, what you say is Ni Bere. Okay? And then
Ni Bere.
Yes, Ni Bere. And the modern Hebrew says Bereshit. God, you say Elohim for the plural. In the singular, you say Eloha. Okay? In Yoruba, you say Oluwa. Okay, which means Lord. For heaven, you say Shamayim, that's the plural. The singular is Shama. You say Sama in Yoruba. In Amharic, you say Sama, or Samai in Amharic, you say Sama in Hausa. And when you say and in Hebrew is Et. In Yoruba, you say Ati. You say, when you want to say earth in modern Hebrew, you say Eret. And there's this word in Yoruba that says Ere, which means wetland. And then there's another word inos, which is a word for person in modern Hebrew. And you say onye in Igbo, you say enio in Yoruba language. There's a word for okele. You know, we have a lot of swallow meals in Africa. Yes. So when you say okele in Yoruba language, that's the exact same word for food or for eat in Hebrew. You see? And
in the Hebrew?
Yes. And we've put all the Hebrew Strong's number on the extreme right here so people can go have a look at it. So this father and mother is very common in most languages, but it's the same word, Baba, Abba. There's parts of Yoruba that literally say Abba for father. Ima, you have Mama. Then you have Malak, you have Malaika in Yoruba language. You have the word Ba or Bo in Hebrew. In Yoruba, you say Bo to means welcome or to say when somebody's arrived. That reminds me of Akwaba.
Ekabo?
Yes, Ekabo. Do you know Akwaba? Akwaba is the way you say, is that language Chi?
That's Chi.
Great.
Means welcome.
Yes, great. So Akwaba like that is in Yoruba you say Ekwabo. Okay? Yes. So you say Ekwaba.
Great similarity right there.
Yes, and the reason that's why I was confident of picking the Yoruba language because it's so connected to the other African languages. Yes. So that Akwaba, that's Ba. What does come mean in Ghana? Just curious.
Bra.
Sorry?
Bra. You mean come?
Yes.
Come in the local dialect. In Chi,
yes.
That is bra.
Wow. And how do you spell, if you want to spell it, how do you?
B-R-A?
Yes. So in Hebrew it is ba. You see what I'm saying? In Yoruba it is bo. And in Hebrew it is either ba or bo. So you begin to see those similarities all over the place.
Even in Ghana, which is another local dialect, it's the same as the Hebrew. Ba.
Yes, exactly.
Ba. Because the guy will say, Bawate, come, let's go. And the Hebrew will say, Boite, come, let's go.
So those are the similarities we find in all those languages. Let's still check a few more while we. And by the way, they can check these things on the website. They are all there. They can just have a look and see. So so we have a lot of words like that. The word for bad is ra in Hebrew. In Yoruba, you say ra for something that is rotten or that got bad, like a fruit or something. Yeah. So you have
ra.
Yes, ra. So the word for onion is batsal. In Yoruba, you say alubosa. When you want to say shout, you say ruwa. In Yoruba, you say ariwo. You have nabi for Hebrew. In Yoruba, you say anobi. By the way, there's this word nubia. You know, I don't know if you have heard that word nubia.
It was used to describe black people.
Exactly, just and the southern part of Egypt. You see, yes, and then that nubia is almost like you're breaking two words down. You know, it's almost like you're breaking two words down, which is the nubi, for example, means prophet, just like we have it in this. Yeah, so nubi means prophet, and then Yah is the word for God, right? Like Yahweh, you say. So Nubia is like saying the prophets of God. Nubia, put it up like that. So that's why African people are almost always spiritual, and everything that they do is literally in their DNA, because it's literally who they are. It's literally who they are.
Ours is not religion, it's spirituality. And exactly. Nobody teaches you spirituality. You're born with it.
Yes. It's literally with the DNA like that.
So nobody contaminates your spirituality. And that is what even the Bible states. Is religion that actually allows somebody to have control over you because of doctrines and set rules and all of these. I get you. I get you.
Absolutely. Let's touch on a few words before we start touching on some of the cultures. So, so we have, like I said, people can go have a look at our website. It's all there on the channel. So
what's the website?
Yeah, it's kunleministers.org.
.org, okay.
Yes, .org, yes, just that.
And these documents that you are sharing with us on screen, I think if you can give us a link to them so we can post under this video,
yes,
so people can just click and it takes them there so they can reference them.
Yes.
Because I realize it's more than what you just mentioned. You just want to brush through.
Absolutely. So so those are just the words. There's another word for see. You say roa or re or re. In Hebrew. In Yoruba, you say ri. When you see something, you say ri. So you have all those words there like that. And the same thing across all other African, many other African languages like that. So I want to jump to the peoples and the personalities. Now, there are some practices that we have in Africa that are literally Hebrew. And it's not something we're trying to do in order to be religious. Is what we do as part of. One of them is circumcision. In Europe here, if you want to circumcise your child, you have to pay for that, especially. They normally don't circumcise children. And some people like to say that maybe we copied that from the Europeans, but that is not so. It's absolutely, if you want to copy someone, you don't do that by cutting off the foreskin of an 80-year-old boy. I mean, that's not what you copy. So circumcision has been here before colonialism, before Christianity in that sense, before the missionaries rather came around. So it has always been here. Another one is the payment.
So it's more traditional of the people of Israel because it was an instruct from God himself, and that identifies Israel like Israelites.
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to say Israelis.
Yes.
The contamination.
The Jewish people. So,
I know.
Yeah, so another one is payment of bride price. The other one is, have you heard of Unwato? That's a Ghanaian thing.
Unwato.
Yes.
It depends on which culture
that
can be found.
That takes red sand from the ground and paste it on the post of their lintel. And they've seen it as a fetish thing. That's what people say. But then it's been said by one of these Hebrew, real Hebrew rabbi from Ghana. And he said that is literally the Passover.
Because, the Passover.
Yes.
Then it must be Gan, probably is the pronunciation that is making me miss it.
Yeah, but then the actual
the Ghans are predominantly diviners, and the Homowo festival, that's where you see the signs of Passover and everything.
Exactly. And of course, even in the Bible days, these things have slightly, always been adulterated here and there with different kings that ruled over the people. So that's what you mentioned is another one of that, where they paint, this particular one I can remember, they paint the lintel with the red mud. But then a rabbi was making us understand that is exactly what the Passover is. And it's their culture thing, not even more of a religious thing, but a culture thing. That it's
and even to add to what you're saying, comparatively, in Israel today, in what is termed Israel,
the Middle East,
when you become a widow, you're collected and put, extracted from society for 7 days. They're going to cut your hair.
Wow.
And that is a wide practice amongst Asantis and other tribes in Ghana.
Yeah.
We do the same.
Exactly. And it's not a colonialist thing, it's something that came.
No, they came to meet it. In fact, they bastardized it.
Exactly. You see. So so it was when the people could not afford killing lambs for that's the instruction for the Passover, was to kill a lamb and kill an animal and use the blood on the. But when they couldn't afford lambs is when they reverted to using the red muds they have to paint that. That's literally there. So another culture, there's a man whose name is Olaudah Equiano. Okay. He's I can just pop up his picture here. So is a Nigerian who long ago he was kidnapped, and then somehow he was eventually saved, then brought to England, and he started sharing his story, and he was mentioning how their cultures is so similar to the Jewish culture, so similar. And in that talk, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. So, and in that talk, he wasn't trying to convince anybody that he was a Jew. He was just giving his own autobiography. So, he mentioned one thing about the purifications, that when his mom will be menstruating, she will be taken to a different apartment, during the time till when she's purified. And when he himself will be spending so much time with his mother, okay, he himself will have to stay with his mom there, because just for the purifications to be completed, so it's in this book, The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano.
And that is a practice in Ghana as well.
You see,
we call it fiche.
Fiche, you see.
Yes, when a woman menstruates, she's extracted from society and placed somewhere that nobody interacts with her because of Leviticus and all the instructions and everything that is there.
Exactly.
And she's going to stay there throughout the period that she's going to be bleeding. And then 4 extra days, even after she stopped bleeding, to be completely clean. Purified, I should say, before they are introduced back into society.
Exactly. And those are just Hebrew practices that are literally part of the people's culture. Let's move ahead. Let me see if we can pick one or two before we get to the sweet part, which is the location which most people will be waiting for. So so bride price, polygamy, greeting elders. This greeting of elders in Europe, you don't. You just call your dad, hey, what's up, dad? In Africa, you don't do that. So that worshiping of
and they wonder when you're an African and you tend to greet everybody, they're like, why are you greeting everybody you see?
I know.
What? I'm like, that's culture. Yeah. That's me, naturally.
Exactly. So so those are the things about the peoples and the culture. And there's something I need to mention which I didn't put here, should have been here. There's something called vitiligo. Did you know that the real meaning of leprosy that we know in scriptures is not that disease that chop people's hands off? Yeah, the real Hebrew meaning, even in Igbo land till today, the real meaning of leprosy is vitiligo, when a person loses their skin. I don't know if I can pop it up here. Vitiligo. That loss of skin coloration, vitiligo, let's just have a look at it. I'll share my screen images. I'll share my screen just a minute. So is that loss of pigmentation that vitiligo is? That is why Naaman, that captain of the host, can have leprosy and still fight battles. If he was somebody that lost his fingers, there's no way you lose your fingers and you still fight battles.
How could you hold the weapon?
Exactly. So this is what leprosy really is. But then the meaning of that was changed over time. The same thing with the meaning of wilderness. When people read wilderness in the Bible, they immediately think a desert. No. A wilderness is a wilderness. It's a place where you have wild animals, where you have greenery, you see. So they are saying, well, is it wilderness? There's no way God will take his people and take them to a barren land. Enter a wilderness and make the place, just cultivate it, then you have a fruitful field, literally. So this is the real meaning of vitiligo. That is why they say it came back leprous, white as snow, if you remember that term. They're always saying leprous, white as snow. It's because the skin become whitish. And tell me, if you're already whitish, if you're already a white person, like the people in the Middle East today, you cannot be affected by vitiligo because there's no pigmentation to lose in the first place, if you get my point. So the darker you are, the more vitiligo tends to be obvious to you. And the same thing with Moses. When he put his hand in his vesture, it became leprous. In other words, it became whitish, you see. So, and that's what vitiligo is. So, but then they would change a lot of those things and make the whole. And by the way, the Gadangbe's, did you know that they are a mixture of the Gad and the Dan tribe? Have you heard that before?
No, you just opened my eye to that.
Yeah.
You said a mixture of what and what again?
The tribe of Gad and the tribe of Dan is why they are called Gad Dangbe. And even in the Igbo land today, you can still find where they call Obugad, where they have the statue of God literally in their midst. Yeah, in Igbo land. Let me show you that picture. Obugad. Yeah, there we go. That is that's a statue of God they have that they call.
And who is God?
I'll just show that to you just in a minute. Table of Nations. Yeah. So
this is the family tree of the Hebrews.
Yes, literally the whole world, really. But then it's like what we have is the whole world is the big bracket from Adam. Then we have the Hebrews. The Hebrew was gotten from this man. His name is Eber. He's about the 14th from Adam. Can you see that number 14 there?
Yeah.
Yes. So everybody from Adam is from the whole world, the humans in the world. And then here you have Eber. Is from him they got the name Hebrew. And and after that you have the Israelites are the children of Jacob. Okay, Jacob.
Descendant of Abraham.
Yes, Isaac, Jacob.
The son of.
Yes. So Eber is the 14th.
And Jacob is the son of Isaac.
Yes, son of Isaac. Yes, that's why I have Isaac here as 21. And all these things, like I said, are on the website, and we'll put the link in the description. So Jacob there, and then you have Gad. So Gad is the son. So the Jews is just people from Judah. Yes, so let's see where Judah is. So that's Judah there. You see?
Yeah.
Yes. So these are the Jews from Judah, from tribe of Judah. These are the Israelites, just the father of the Jews, literal father. And then the Hebrews go all the way up to a wider people from 14 here. So that's the world, the Hebrews, the Israelites, and the Jews. So just a big bracket into smaller brackets. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. So this is the person called Gad. He's one of the sons of Jacob. So the people from Gadambe are a mixture from this Gad and the tribe of Dan. That's why they call them Gadambes. You can go. Anybody can go research this. I mean, people can drop questions in the comment sections.
And the tribe that's called Dan, they are also traceable to which figure in the Bible?
Yes, Dan is just here. Dan is a son, one of the sons of Jacob. That's him here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're literally brothers, and of course, their families mix from their intermarriage and all that. You see. So, but then that's Nwaneri in Igbo land. And the Obugad, they're talking about the house of God. You see, and this is Gad here, son of Jacob. You see. So
Gadambe.
Yes.
God, Dan. God and Dan. And I bet the Bay will mean people. It's time to be corrected though. The God Dan people.
Yeah. Exactly. So they have, let me put that open. Yeah, there we go. It's a little smaller here. So they have that picture there. You see. And it's, of course, it's a brown man we're looking at. So
this is
that's in Igbo land.
Okay, this is standing in Igbo land as we speak.
Yes, it's still there till now as we speak.
Okay.
So the people from the Middle East try to go there and try to mix the thing up, but it's not working. So the people know who they are. Some of them know they know who they are. But these things need to get in the open so people can know. So we're going to be showing this in a minute. Just to have people have a context, we'll be moving to the locations shortly. But the Igbo people that we just spoke about are here. So what we are saying the land is, we are moving into locations already, is incidentally is all this green part into the south like this. You see, and the Igbo people we spoke about are somewhere around here. Southeastern Nigeria, eastern Nigeria here. The Ghanas are here, Ghanaians, you know, the Gadambes are from here. So all these people, in fact, the capital of Cameroon is being found that even this Yaoundé is talking about Yahudi, which means Jew. So, but let me see if you are following order so I don't get ahead of myself. So that's it. But let me read something from this scripture, the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees. A lot of Christians don't like to touch on that, you know, they have different reasons. Some of them say it's not canonized, but then I believe
that book is available in the Ethiopian Bible.
Yes, it's literally on the internet. So, you know, you can
so anybody can make reference. Yeah. If you know about the book of Jubilees, it means you're serious enough to really discover who you are.
Exactly.
So yeah, we use that as a springboard.
So I want to show you something from the book of Jubilees. And when you begin to see some of these things, it make you begin to wonder, I mean, could that be the reason why these books were just taken off? And they were not unlisted in that, you know, that canonization and all that? You see. So let me just read a few scriptures. Jubilees 8:12. Yep.
And they came forth on the, what, writing?
Yes, on the writing as Shem's lot, the middle of the earth. Which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his generations for eternity. So, and of course, if you pop here, it's not difficult to find out where the middle of the earth is. That's a no-brainer. The middle of the earth is literally Africa. Even after they will do all their
the middle of the earth is basically in Tema.
Exactly, just that middle.
The meridian where the latitude crosses the longitude at 0 degrees. This is in Tema. It's in Ghana.
Wow, you see that? And that's using their own reference, by the way. I mean, using the Western European reference, they still.
They couldn't take it away. Any one of these foreign huge presidents, when they come to Ghana, that's the first place they want to go to. They want to go see the meridian, the center of the earth.
Exactly. So even from this Google Maps, which is just what we know today, if you try to look at the center of the earth, is literally in Africa. That's where the center of the earth is. By the way, this has been made to look smaller. You see, this Africa has been made to look smaller than the rest of the earth. You know, just. So the middle of the earth.
From what I've been told, the map itself is upside down, just so it looks smaller.
And because the rivers of Africa flow from the south here towards the north, you see, because the elevations here in the lower side are higher than that of the north. You see. So let's just read a little more. Let's go to verse 16. Let's check what verse 16 is saying. 8:16. Have you heard of the word Akebulan?
Akebulan, which is the original name of
Africa.
Black people.
Yes.
African actually is a Greek word.
I see.
Africa is a Greek word meaning the dark people.
And look at this, Alkebulan. Alkebulan is an indigenous term meaning mother of mankind or Garden of Eden. You see. And that's
the garden.
Yes.
The Garden of Eden.
Yes. And that's the original name for Africa used by the Moors, the Nubians, and indigenous people, you see, before the European arrival. And that name is so perfectly what it is. Look at verse 16 here. And it extends towards the east, talking about the land given to Shem. It reaches the Garden of Eden.
Eden.
You see, and it continues to the south. Continues to the south. Let me read another.
This is all in the book of Jubilees.
Yes, verse 22.
That is why they didn't canonize it, because you will know where you're from and who you are and what you possess, and it would distort what you're looking for.
Exactly. Let me read another one. Which will be much interesting. Verse 29. Now, this is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons, as the portion of his inheritance which he should possess for himself and his sons for their generations forever. 5 great islands and a great land in the north. And that is why we have it here, that the land of Japheth is in the north here. Japheth is in the north. So this is where the land of Japheth is. And you know there's Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The land of Ham is around here where you have Egypt and Ethiopia. The land of Shem is here. This is the land of Japheth. So, and 30, but look at this. Look at what it says about the land of Japheth. But it is
cold.
Cold, exactly.
And the land of Ham is hot.
Yes. And the
land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but is of blended cold and heat.
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
So that is why the land of Japheth, where I am right now, is so cold. So they try to squeeze everything here, and they tell you everything is in the Middle East here. Brother, you cannot even see is this so-called Middle East Israel here, except I zoom my map to the very end. Do you see? They are trying to they're trying to tell you all the whole world was divided here. I mean, come on. And everything happened here just in this tiny land. This land, by the way, is 40 times smaller than Egypt. There's no way their God takes them from here and move them over here.
And they will fit into that little spot.
It's not possible. And the land is a desert, by the way. It's just a desert, is what it is.
And that is the modern day Israel.
That's the modern day Israel.
Oh my God.
And you would see it, and these things are all over the place, but mainstream would not let you see, because it's in the movies. If you talk about it, you look like you're crazy. Genesis 13 verse 1 in KJV. Let's make the font size bigger.
And Abraham went up out of Egypt, right?
He and his wife.
And all that
he had.
Yes. And Lot with him into the south.
Exactly. And it was going to the promised land. This up here means elevation, because you see on our map here, on the second page here, the elevation of the south, just like you mentioned, and we have seen, this is a graph of elevation. The elevation down south of Egypt here is higher than that of the north, you see. So that's why even the Nile flows from the south to the north. So Abraham went upward in elevation out of Egypt into the land of the south. That's where the promised land is, where he came from. I mean, the source of the Nile is literally somewhere around Uganda, if you get my point.
Okay.
So the Nile
flows downwards.
Yes, downward in elevation. But if you look at it on the map, it's like it's going up. Yeah. So they took advantage of that and began to twist the whole thing. And they went all over here and started naming a land Negev, of which, if you check some translation, it will tell you went to Negev. Negev is just the Hebrew word for south. It's not the name of an actual place. It just says south, which means southward. But they go here and the name somewhere Negev. And I mean, Negev, by the way, is also the name of an Israeli gun, this NATO weapon, which they used to fight all those battles there and all that. You see. It says here, the land of Japheth is called. It's there. Land of Japheth is called. You see. Let me see if I can read one or two more before we touch more on the scriptures. I mean on the maps rather. Verse 30, so that's all we just read. So let's just read a few more. Jubilees 9 verse 2 and 4 and 5. Let me just see if you see. And Shem also divided amongst his sons. The first portion came forth from Elam and his sons towards the east of the river Tigris. Yes, as it approaches the east and the whole land of India unto the Red Sea on its coast and the waters of Dedan, you see. And verse 4, it says that, and the land for Arphaxad came for the third portion of the region for the Chaldees to the east of the Euphrates, bordering on the Red Sea. And then those words like that you may not easily see, but then what they are saying today is that they try to tell you that the Euphrates and the Tigris is here. Let me, you can just pop that on. I'll just put that here. Tigris.
As you're finding it, so all this battle, all this silent war is basically about settlements, land possessions. They are disposing people of what is rightfully theirs, and they are owning it. Oh, Charlie.
So Tigris, I don't know if you can see what I'm saying. Euphrates. They are both in so-called Iraq. So they tell you,
Mesopotamia.
Yes, they tell you Tigris and Euphrates is here. You see? And then imagine somebody wants to divide the whole world amongst his sons, just 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the land he gave one of his main sons is supposed to be between Tigris and Euphrates, which is here, just this tiny bit here that you cannot even see until you zoom. And then and then he gave the whole of Africa just to Ham. That's not possible. I mean, by the way, Ham is the son that saw him naked, by the way. So how come that Ham son got the whole of this land, and then the Shem, which is the first son, got just Tigris between Euphrates here? It's not possible. It doesn't make sense.
It's not possible.
It does.
He wouldn't even agree.
Yeah. But then the real Tigris, which is where we are going to, the real Tigris is this Nile here, and the real Euphrates is the river Pra in Ghana, flowing into Niger Benue River.
Wait a minute. Wait, back up. Hold on.
You see?
Reverse. Say that again.
The river
The real Tigris
is the Nile here. The rivers of Egypt.
Is River Nile.
Yes. And the real Euphrates is these rivers in West Africa, flowing into Central Africa. And
you called it River Pra.
Exactly, the Pra.
So when Euphrates gets into Ghana, the name for it is Pra.
Exactly. When it gets to Nigeria, they call it Niger River, of which it was some European guy who came there and called it Niger River. Niger does not mean anything. It's just the Portuguese word for black. It's just the same word as nigger. And they called a whole nation here, you call a nation Nigeria. What does that mean? Nigger area, black people's area. And they even run out of names. The one on the north, they still call it Niger again. So what? Because they have to give them some empty name, you see.
Where is the source of the Euphrates?
The Euphrates flows from the south. Some of it flows and it empties into the sea here. You see, some of it flows from here. And then all of these Western African rivers is the Euphrates all together. And let me show you that Pra that I mentioned. Let me show you something here. Genesis 2:10, thereabout. Euphrates. Bible verse. It's actually in Genesis 2:10, but just to fully confirm. It's all over the place, really. But let me just open Genesis 2:10. 10 in Interlinear Bible. It shows you the Hebrew word
for pra.
Yes. By the way, these are the rivers of Eden. By the way, because that is the real land of Eden.
When you go to the creation story in Genesis, it's talking about the Pishon, the Tigris, all of these, the names.
Exactly. Yes, Havila. I just want to show you the pra. Look at it here. Can you see the screen?
I can.
Yes. And the third river is Tigris, which runs along the east side. This Tigris again is still that Nile River. The Nile River is literally about the longest river in the world, in Africa at least, by the way. It runs all the way from the south.
And that's Tigris.
Yes, that's the Tigris. And you see just here, they call it Hiddekel again. So there's quite a few names it attains as it moves from country to country. But look at the word Euphrates. Euphrates is a Greek kind of thing. This U is a Greek word. You see, the real word is the pra there, or the fra. Look at it, Prat. You see that? That's the Prat River.
Prat.
Exactly.
The Prat.
Exactly.
River Prat. Exactly. So it's Prat.
Yes.
And then it's been corrupted or it's been localized.
It's modified to pra. That is true. Let me show you something else. That may not be enough for our viewers because I know there will be a lot of doubters there.
Pra.
So and look at this. This map is on our website, by the way. They can download it for free. And let's look at some of these references for each of the locations we put here. For example, this Damascus is in Damasak in northern Nigeria, border between Nigeria and Niger. That's where Damascus is.
Oh my God.
So, but let me show people a map because they might be like, maybe this guy is just... Now, these references, you can always just check them at the bottom of this map when you download it. So this says I, S1, O, and P. So let's go look at that in our references. It's not something you need to memorize. You can always check it. Let's look at the reference I here. Where does I go to? This is where people know how to use the map. It took us years, by the way, to
master the usage of the map.
Yes, and to literally create this map, really, because we made this map actually. I made it during that research time.
Okay.
So look at this. O is Guilam Delay map, okay, which I'm going to pop up shortly now. Okay, that's map O. So when you download it, they can get the package. It comes with all the other smaller maps there. So look at it here. So this map is from, 1707, by the way. I don't know if you can see this.
I can.
Euphrates River. You see that? And that's the kingdom of Judah. That's Judah there, kingdom of Judah, right in West Africa.
It is in West Africa.
That's Benin there. You see. There's a zoom in. You see Euphrates there.
I'm shocked.
Telling you, it's real. They can download this thing. It's difficult, and like you and I was discussing.
I'm even seeing Tafo there. Tafo is predominantly, name of provinces in Ghana.
Yes. But here they've not started parting the lands here. That's Akam there. They've not started parting the lands here. That's Akani.
Yeah, but the name, that is even there.
That's what I'm saying. So they've not started naming you people Ghana, Niger, and all of those funny names at this time.
I know. I'm going back to the argument of the languages and, pronunciations and namings of things and how it corresponds to what is in the Bible.
Exactly.
More than what the English will ever do.
That's it. You see, that's the River Pra there. And so people don't think there's another reference altogether here. This is national. This is even using their own reference. This is a European kind of documentation. This is National Geographic Society, U.S. Okay, this is the National Geographic Society, Washington, 1888 to 1959. This is one of their writings, publications. This researcher was saying this. In the kingdom of Amenuan, there enters a branch of the river Euphrates. It tells you that river is the river Niger. The friar does not confuse this with the Mesopotamian Euphrates. You see, in other words, there's another one in the Middle East there. That's a different one. But this is saying there's a Euphrates here that I'm seeing here. This is a European speaking. But assumes that two rivers with the same names. So I'm saying, and it differentiates it here. The Euphrates, the real one in Africa, it just spells it with an F. The other one there in their side is spelled with a PH, which is a Greek thing when you spell F with PH. See, and it even further tells here, is referring evidently to the river Benue, a tributary of the Niger River. You see, that's Euphrates there.
And this river forms three branches, blah, 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 just like it's in the Bible.
So, so we can have a look at the map, and I mean, so we took the time to create this map, and we just superimpose so people can see. They can see what is going on and understand that that is where their land is. Let me just pick two more things before we begin to wrap it up. Now, people will have a lot of questions but they crossed the Red Sea. That's another thing. They did not cross the Red Sea. What they crossed is the Reed Sea. I don't know if I heard that before. Yom Suf.
Reed?
Yes. What they crossed is the Reed Sea, not the Red Sea. You see? They crossed the Reed Sea. And the Reed Sea is the Nile again. The Reed Sea is the Nile. You will check that. I don't know if you're seeing my screen.
I am.
Yeah. They crossed the Reed Sea. Let me pop that scripture to you. And another one I'm going to show. East wind. So people can type their questions. Let me see. Let's see, Bible verse.
After the questions come, we're going to have to do another episode where you address the questions that come in.
Yes, because I know people are going to have a lot of questions. So Moses stretched out. Let's see. Yeah, Exodus 14:21. Let me just show us Exodus 14:21. Let's see. Exodus
14:21.
Yeah. So let's read what we have here. It just
Can you zoom in?
Yeah, I'll do that.
And Moses did what? Stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind.
Yeah, that's where the point is. All night. The strong east
all
wind.
night.
Yes. So this east wind is what I want to bring out from there.
And made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
Yes, and waters were divided. So if an east wind is blowing, do you notice it's coming from where? From the east, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. If an east wind is blowing, it means the east wind parted the river from the east towards the west. And that definitely implies that's the exact direction of the people who are crossing the sea. They cross from the east towards the west.
The west.
That's it. Not to the northeast like this, to that tiny land. No. Another thing you will find is...
So where does the Reed Sea come in? Which sea is the Reed Sea?
The Nile is the Reed Sea. Let me show that to you also. And this is good we're asking this question so that can, just help those that are viewing. They would... Yeah, they would reduce Reed Sea Bible verse. So these things are not things we just memorize. They are just there all over the place.
Oh, yeah. We are in 2025. Hello.
Yeah.
Chat GPT memorizes stuff for you, man.
Yeah.
You just have to make a reference.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Let's see what's in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So Exodus 14. Let's see if we can push it from there. Control F. Okay, Exodus 10:19. Let's see. So I'm going to show you in Interlinear Bible. Exodus 10:19. 10. So after this, we'll just wrap it up and let people pour their questions, and we'll do a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So look at it here. So this is Hebrew is from right to left, the way the writing is. So are you able to see it? And
I'm looking.
Yeah, it turned the wind. That's the wind that brought the quails, by the way. That one came from another direction. That brought the locust, rather. Okay. It took away the locust and blew them into the Red Sea. That's what the English says, the Red Sea. Okay. And there remained not any one of them in the territories of Egypt. But look at that Red Sea here. It is Yam Suf. Yam Suf. Yam is the word for sea. There's no question for that. Okay, or the word is the word for sea or the word for west. That's it, yeah. But then the word for Suf is not the word for red in Hebrew. The word for red in Hebrew is Edom or Adam. But let's look at this red here. Let's look at it here. That's it, Suf. It means reed. You see it here? Suf. Definition, reed or rush. That's papyrus. Is a play, is what the English word tries to do with a play of words that started changing red to reed. If you try it in any other language, it's not going to work, because I mean, there's no guarantee that the word for red and the word for reed will be that similar. You just remove one E, one alphabet, and start confusing. And another thing is the Red Sea, the reeds cannot grow inside the Red Sea because it's a salty sea. You can't have reeds growing in it. It completely disqualifies that their Red Sea narrative completely. So they can go in here and they say they find some chariot wheels. Come on, this is thousands of kilometers. A lot of kilometers length here. You can find anything you want if that's what you're looking for. But I tell you, search along the Nile, you're going to find much more chariot wheels than you're ever looking for in your life. because they're going to come
and probably skeletal remains.
A lot of things. But the way this life is whatever you're looking for, if you have fixed your mind to a certain place, you will find what you're looking for there. Even if it's not it, you would make it look like it. You see. So this is the Red Sea. It's the same sea where Moses was caught from, and some of the reeds was part of the things that was used to make his basket when he was floating in that river. So English says Red Sea. There's nothing red about that sea. You can go to that red one, that's one. But the real Red Sea is not Red Sea, it's Red Sea, and that's the Nile.
Even at a point, didn't the Nile become red?
Oh yeah,
the plagues of plagues of Egypt.
Yeah, you see.
It became blood. So that actually confirms even what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's Yom Suf what we have here. Yom Suf, that's the Sea of Reeds.
The Sea of Reed.
Yeah. Sea of Reeds. So so people can go just have a look at that and drop their questions. And I was saying here in this my slide that the same way they have taken resources from this part of the world and exported it and brought them back with poisons, with you take crude oil, you bring it back as petrol, you take cocoa, you bring it back as chocolate, take leather from northern Nigeria, bring it back and you're telling us it's Italian leather, all the kind of stuff. It's the same way that they have taken the story of the people and brought it back, imported as Roman Catholicism. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. So there are many people who are saying that, they want to go back to their roots, start practicing, some things, and they get in the wrong path. And the reason for that is because they just know half of the truth. They think this Christianity thing, this following God, Bible, is something written by a European person. That's not true. That is not true, because that's just half of the truth. The real story is really from here. It's really from here. So what they see is just the importation part. They think it just came from Rome. No, it was exported from here to Rome first before it was brought back here. You see. So I think people deserve to know the truth. People deserve to know the truth. The people of the book, they deserve to know the truth, so that they will stop. They will stop supporting their own enemies. You know, they deserve to know the truth.
It's disheartening that when you try to wake people up and the kind of response they give to you, they paint you out to be the devil himself. Like, yo, what the hell is wrong with you? But I don't blame them. You know, it takes a minute for certain things to sink into the spirit of other people. That indoctrination, you know when they brought all of these to confuse the indigents, the locals, the elders never agreed with whatever they brought, so they targeted children.
I see.
They targeted a lot of children and taught them these, and these children have grown into generations. So when you challenge the source,
they're not going to listen.
Oh my God, they will insult you, they will bastardize you, they make you feel like you are evil.
I see that.
But the evidence is too much.
There's a lot of evidence.
And anybody who starts on this tangent gets an encounter some way, somehow. Like I was telling you about mine. I have traveled. I'm first a musician. And I got, his songs very early in my life. And that propelled me to a lot of travels. If you look at the treatment they give you, just because you wear black skin, you are melanated. That is like a sin. So I started asking questions. What have I done? What did my ancestors do? Who did what? What warrants all this disrespect? And trust you me, when I started walking that path, I had to become a pastor. I had to teach at church. I had to learn the Bible. I had to read history. Eventually had to set the show up to open the eyes of people that, you know what? The worship of God, like you rightly said, it's not about going to evening service in the church. Because that is a system, that is the matrix, that has been created to contain you. But they wouldn't understand. But we are not, that's not going to deter anybody anyway. We're just going to, keep seeking the truth, sharing the truth, throwing the light, so we see where we go from here.
Yes, so people need to be changed really literally from the heart. And then I tell them this information is powerful, by the way. But then if they don't have a change in heart, because we people, the real people of the book, and really anybody, we need to begin to love one another. It's very important, because knowledge in itself can puff a people up. I mean, the Bible has been here for ages, and people will still do what they want to do anyways. But then when people change in their heart, that's where the real change comes. That's the real thing.
Begins to take effect, yeah.
And hopefully we hope this information, let people begin to rethink, love one another, respect.
And I know a guy, after all of this that we have done, will ask me, Kofi, yes, that's great information, so now what?
Exactly. I know.
I should stop going to church, or I shouldn't believe that Jesus died for me. I'm like, okay, do with it as you please, but this is the truth. I know one day, somewhere, somehow, this information is going to come in handy.
Yes, and that's happening already. That's happening already.
Yeah. So, Kunle, let me thank you at this point, and let's run this. We're going to give all this information to my viewers, and I know they're going to ask you questions and all that. And I think that will be the foundation for the next recording.
Yep.
So that we can further teach.
Yes.
And, open up some of these things to everybody's knowledge, because we're in the information age.
Yeah.
And this is the time Africans, as we have accepted to be called, are turbulence. Will have to open their eyes and realize that they are the promised ones. Yeah. They live in the promised land.
Yes.
They have the chunk of the world's goodness.
Yes.
And they are targets.
And they need to begin to believe in themselves, believe in their God.
That's what I'm saying. You are targeted because of what you possess.
Yes.
So begin to believe and wake up. Realize who you are.
Yes.
Then only you can protect what you have, and then you can know what they came here
for
to take away.
Let's sell yourself cheap. Because I'm wondering, that brother who asked that question, that after all of this, then what? That's a funny question, because if United Nations and these European unions, all these countries will come together to spend billions of dollars to keep that lie in the Middle East running, it suggests to you how important it is to keep that in your
How important it is. Yes. But you see, you cannot make a lie the truth given 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
It's not.
Last, I chanced on some information, great information that is. In the history of the world, no African country has forced any other country to speak their language.
Wow.
No African country has colonized any other people and taken their culture to them. No African country is producing stuff and creating avenues for certain people to buy their stuff in the wise of economics and commerce and all of that. No African country has enslaved anybody. So it means somebody is after the African.
So unity is very important. And one irony, interestingly, is that when you see a person that, because sometimes you find our people not liking, not loving one another, they just dislike. You see how women, sorry to say, they put on a European kind of looking hair and things like that. That's a suggestion they don't really like themselves. When you see someone that, even when you see another dark-skinned person like yourself somewhere else, you just try to distance from them, you don't want to associate with them. It's a suggestion of how you see your own self. Someone, because if you can treat someone that looks like you like that, and it suggests you don't like your own self. That's why we're weak to try to look a certain way.
You see, it's part of the programming, and people do things blindly because they do not understand the roots of what they are doing. They feel like, oh, this is common fashion. They brought it, let me wear it. But you see, everything from the West is calculated, and it has gains for whoever came to market it. Education came to divide us. Science came to confuse us. Politics, division. That is even worse.
That's a big one.
The main thing for the West on Africa is division. And they always bring it in different ways and forms to divide. Because like you said, if we learn to accept ourselves and come together,
yes,
it's done.
Yeah.
And that's what they are preventing.
They will prevent that with everything.
Look at all these borders within Africa.
Useless.
One nation, children of the same family, descendants of same source, and we have borders crossing from my part of the world into my brother's part, my sister's part. I need to go through what, immigration?
And someone with a French passport can go anywhere. The British passport can go anywhere within those.
And yet, people do not see what is being done. I wonder why it's so glaring in my eyes. Yet, people just cannot see that somebody is after you. Somebody is pulling strings so you don't function.
It's very simple to say. It takes.
As somebody will put it, it's a saddest thing. It's a saddest thing.
So let's push this out to the people. Let's see how they react, how they respond, and we.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for Kunle, you just have to go down there in the comment section, put it there. We both are going to read, and that's going to necessitate another recording, and then we'll get to address some of the issues that you bring up. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. The time is now.
Yeah.
That $1 million question is being asked right now. The challenge. You see, I record some very short questions and I put them out for people to come to certain realizations. I call it ask yourself. I don't know if you chanced on any on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That ask yourself the questions that you've been told not to ask even in the church where you are getting all the teachings. It's questions that make you learn. It's not teachings. Because people can say a whole lot of things, but it is the question you ask that determines your understanding of what they have said. You get it? So let's learn together. Let's bring ourselves to par, because there's an underlying enemy. Even though we don't fight back, they fight always. And that's the truth. Thank you very much, my brother. And on to the next one. I see you.
All right, then.